Los Angeles is now entering its second week of fighting the largest fires the city has ever seen. The fires have already collectively burned an area more than 2.5 times the size of Manhattan, while authorities are literally still searching burned out houses for the dead. How is the Republican leader of the House, Mike Johnson, how is he responding? He's threatening to hold hostage federal disaster aid.
I think there should probably be conditions on that aid. That's my personal view. We'll see what the consensus is. I haven't had a chance to socialize that with any of the members over the weekend because we've all been very busy, but it'll be part of the discussion for sure.
That was the Speaker of the House saying that federal aid for these wildfires in California should have conditions.
While radical climate Democrats control California, they control the White House. Do you think that when the disaster aid in the Senate comes through, that Congress will put some kind of limits on it, going, we're not wasting it on your nonsense, California, we're getting it to the people who've been hurt?
We certainly should. You know, I certainly wouldn't vote for anything unless we see dramatic change in how they're going to be handling these things in the future. These are decisions Californian Democrats have made year after year after year. They divert water into the ocean. They don't fill up their reservoirs. Mm-hmm. They don't clean up their forests. They don't get rid of the underbrush, the real tinder, the real fuel for these fires. So again, it's their fault.
Like it's been talked about, it's going to have to be in conjunction with some reforms that California hasn't been willing to make on the way they regulate their water and things of that nature, their forest management, all these other things, the things that led to the fire. We can't just dump money into a broken system, a poorly managed system, which California absolutely is across the board, and it led to a lot of the damage you see here is because they weren't prepared. They wasted their taxpayer dollars on all kinds of crazy woke agenda items that they've had and green energy stuff, and they haven't really focused on what keeps their state safe. And so we're going to have to help there, but we're going to expect some reforms, and we're going to try to find some pay-fors, and we're going to have to make some cuts.
Let's not forget the other side of this equation. There's $36 trillion in debt that every American is paying $100,000 into. We can't just keep running up the government credit card here. And one of the things that I'll push back on is we've got to be able to grow our economy. We do that with tax cuts, but we also have to spend responsibly here. And so just like aid to California, we will certainly help those thousands of homes and families who have been devastated, but we also expect you to change bad behavior. We should look at the same for these blue states who have run away with a broken tax policy. We want to be able to help out our colleagues in New York, California, New Jersey, but we also want those governors need to change their tune now.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and let me tell you something, folks. California is burning. This isn't just a wildfire, this is devastation. Families are losing everything. People are watching their homes, their jobs, and their entire lives go up in smoke. Schools are being shut down. Businesses are being destroyed. Communities that were already struggling are now standing in ashes. And what are Republicans doing? Are they stepping up to help? Are they offering solutions? Hell no. They're turning this into a political circus, spreading lies, pushing conspiracies, and playing games while people suffer. You've got Greg Kelly from Newsmax leading the charge with his tone-deaf nonsense.
The people with no skill, no clue, right now they are failing, and we can all see it, and it's kind of coming at a perfect time. You know what I mean? They're being exposed. I hate that there's a fire, but the silver lining is that, well, Gavin Newsom ain't ever going to be president, okay? And that was a possibility there.
That's what he had to say, folks. Really? While families are losing everything, that's his big takeaway? It's not just ignorant, it's disgusting, and it's cruel. And it shows you exactly what their priorities are. Scoring cheap political points, not helping people. And then there's Trump himself jumping in with his usual garbage about Delta smelt and reservoirs.
President-elect Trump weighing in overnight on the wildfires and the efforts to contain them.
Incompetent polls have no idea how to put them out, referring there to the wildfires. Now, this is just the latest in what we have seen in this criticism and sparring between President-elect Trump and some of those officials. You mentioned him, one of them being California Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, expect this friction and these dynamics to continue and to come into really clear focus in the coming weeks.
Folks, He's not talking about helping families rebuild their lives. He's not talking about what can be done to stop these fires. No, he's spreading the same discredited lies he's been pushing for years. And you know why he does it? Because pointing fingers is easier than leading. Because deflecting is easier than taking responsibility. That's Trump's playbook, and it always has been. Now let's talk about the facts. California has been working hard to address these fires. They've built the largest aerial firefighting fleet in the world. They've increased forest management tenfold. They've ramped up disaster preparedness in ways no other state has. But here's the thing. When you've got 100-mile-an-hour winds and the driest scrub grass you've ever seen, there's only so much that you can do. Climate change is real, folks. That's what's driving these disasters. And yet you've got Marcia Trainwreck Green talking about cloud seeding like she's some kind of weather wizard. You've got Republicans blaming wokeness for wildfires. It's laughable, it's dangerous, and it's a slap in the face to every family that is actually suffering right now. And then there's Doug Lamalfa. This guy stands up in Congress and has the audacity to minimize what's happening.
It's everywhere. You can't avoid it in the news, and it shouldn't be avoided. It's so horrible. The fires we have now in Southern California that are devastating, so much there, so much value, so much lost, and up to 24 lost lives now. It's an incredibly unnecessary happening. They've been raging in LA. It happens every year with the Santa Ana winds. But up in the Northern California portion that I represent, we've had that devastation already many times. Southern California is getting international coverage, and rightfully so. So what are we going to do? What is Newsom going to do? Well, he wants to blame it on climate change. And so we see time and time again, we're hearing about climate change. We're hearing about carbon dioxide. Well, here's the same chart I show often on this floor. Carbon dioxide represents 0.04% of the atmosphere, and it's barely changed. Look at the rest of the chart, what isn't CO2. And they want to just make it a climate change story.
Are you kidding me? This isn't the usual. The scale of destruction, the lives lost, the families displaced, this is unprecedented. But Lamalfa wants to act like California should just suck it up. This isn't leadership, folks. This is a callous indifference. This is a guy who would rather downplay the suffering in his own state than do his damn job. But it gets worse. While Californians are watching their homes burn, where are their Republican representatives? Are they on the ground helping their constituents? Are they in Washington fighting for disaster relief? Nope. They're on planes to Mar-a-Lago taking selfies with Donald Trump. They're sitting in Trump's Golden Palace, sipping cocktails and talking about how to funnel more money to their billionaire donors. They're talking about tax cuts for the rich while Californians are losing everything. That's who they are, folks. Grifters, every last one of them. And let me tell you what really breaks my heart. It's not the Malibu mansions or the celebrity homes that are burning. It's the working families. It's the baristas, the teachers, the retail workers. It's the people who rent modest apartments, who live paycheck to paycheck, who've built lives through hard work and grit, only to watch it all go up in smoke. These are the people who make California what it is. These are the people who deserve our help, our support, and our compassion. But instead, their so-called representatives are too busy posing for pictures in Mar-a-Lago, Florida. And here's the thing. This isn't just about California. This is the shape of things to come. Climate change is real. These disasters are going to keep happening, and they're going to get worse. But instead of preparing, instead of addressing the root causes, Republicans are doubling down on misinformation and disinformation. And let me tell you, folks, that doesn't help anyone. It's reckless, it's dangerous, and it's exactly why we need to hold them all accountable. So let's talk about accountability for a second, because that's another thing that Republicans love to throw around. You've got people like that bonehead from Iowa saying, sure, we'll think about helping California, but there's going to have to be some accountability. Accountability for what? For being a blue state? For investing in renewable energy? For actually trying to protect their communities? It's absurd. California isn't the problem here. California is one of the biggest contributors to the national economy, and yet Republicans act like they're doing Californians a favor by even considering disaster relief. It's spiteful, it's petty, and it shows you exactly who they are. And let's not forget the real culprits here, the corporations and billionaires who are bankrolling these politicians. The fossil fuel companies that profit off of climate denial, the media outlets like Fox News that spread misinformation. These are the people who are pulling the strings, folks, and they're doing it at the expense of working class Americans. While families lose everything, these billionaires are getting richer, and the politicians they own are laughing all the way to the bank. So here's the bottom line. We need to hold these people accountable. We need to call out the lies. We need to demand action. And we need to make it clear that this kind of leadership or lack of leadership has no place in our government. Families are counting on us. Communities are counting on us. And it's about damn time we step up and do something about it. That's the truth, folks. And it's a truth we can't afford to ignore. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.